Boker Tov, everyone. Rabbi Eric Solomon. A little morning Torah, a little early here on a Friday. It's good to be back together for a little Torah. So the Torah I want to offer here is really an offer of Rosh Hashanah, not necessarily Shabbat specifically, as next week, Monday night through Wednesday, is the new year in the Jewish community, in the Jewish tradition, in our faith. And this time of year, it's quite unique, and I'm entering it myself with my family, a unique situation. As you know, Rabbi Jenny, my wife, has COVID, and thank God she's been in complete isolation for nearly 10 days, hasn't left the room, and our whole family's been in quarantine. And thank you so much for your prayers and support. Thank God it appears Rabbi Jenny seems to be going, slowly, lot, improving, thank God. May it only continue, please God. And this process of getting COVID after being incredibly careful, and of all of us, we're all careful, but particularly Jenny is probably the most careful. She wore a mask and followed all the policies, vaccinated, etc. She had a breakthrough infection. One of the consequences of this experience has been a humbling for her, but really for all of us. It's been very humbling to me, I'll speak myself, to have our entire lives constricted, closed, the demands on us, the sense that we thought that we could, we don't think we're superhuman, but we thought we could maybe following the rules, doing what we need to do, be safe practices, that we could make our way around it. And, I learned once again that I'm human and just like everyone else, and this disease doesn't distinguish between those who are careful or less careful, vaccinated, not vaccinated necessarily. It is insidious, and it's able to get through basically, almost anything, sadly. So the issue of humility, of being humbled, is a big piece of the Jewish Yamim Noraim, the days of awe coming up. In fact, there's a section of our service in Rosh Hashanah called Malchiot. Melech, or Malka, means sovereign, king or queen. And one of the interpretations of that whole section of the service in the Musaf Rosh Hashanah is a whole set of prayers, of statements that reflect on that God is king, God is ruler. And I know that may not ring well for everyone, but the idea behind that, as Reb Zalman Shechter Shlomi talks about, is that it emphasizes that there is something above us, or that in life there are a set of priorities, that we are not number one. There is a power beyond us that's number one. It's a humbling. And in fact, on Yom Kippur, where it gets the most intense, is where the one time of year where we truly, it's actually also in Rosh Hashanah, but we do it several times in Yom Kippur, but also Rosh Hashanah, where it is customary for not just the rabbis or the chazanah leaders, but for all to go down on their knees and prostrate themselves before the ark, before the Torah, before God, to completely humble ourselves before God in that Malchiot section, in that sovereignty section, to really say that we recognize that there's power beyond us, that there are things beyond us, that we are humbled. And, many people have struggled with prayer. Where's God? Do I believe in God? But if there's one practical consequence of prayer, or practical moral and character development from prayer, it's a sense of humility. It's a sense of recognizing that I am not the center of the universe, and that there are powers beyond me, including diseases, including COVID, but hopefully as well the power beyond us, that my perspective is smaller relative to that. And that is an important place to be. And I want to share a story about this idea that really touched my heart when I was about 18, 19 years old. I've told the story a few times before to some of our congregants, but when I was in college, I very proud to be Jewish. I went to the University of Maryland, many of you know, and I loved it. I came home for Rosh Hashanah one year in the middle of the holiday, and it wasn't that far for me to travel back home because I grew up in Maryland. And as many of you know, my father, my family was very active in our congregation growing up, and my father was the lay cantor of our congregation growing up. And I remember one year Rosh Hashanah at services, and I was in the peak of my very collegiate, teenage-ish moments of, really sure that there's no God and God is a crutch. I remember this was the line that, and I looked at science and social science, and I knew all the answers. And I came home, but I still honored Rosh Hashanah. It was important to me as a Jewish young person and be with the family and all the traditions, all the food, etc. I saw during that service that morning something my dad had done every Rosh Hashanah, or every Shabbat for that matter, but I didn't really pay much attention to it until then, was that during a certain part of the service or during a silent prayer aspect, my dad had put his hand on his face and really kind of, I could tell the intention, the kavanah in his prayer was very intense. And it touched me. But in my head, in my heart, it touched me. In my head, I thought, what's my dad doing? My dad, I had always seen as one of the strongest people I knew, a heroic figure. Nothing my dad couldn't do. He was committed to something, achieving a goal. I mean, I just couldn't understand, what is he praying for so hard? So I had the chutzpah to ask him on Rosh Hashanah at that lunch that day. I said, Dad, what's going on? You seem really, the intensity, maybe shaking a little bit. What was that about? And in my heart I was thinking, because you really need that prayer? Like, you need something? You think God is in that? I'll never forget when my dad's had a huge effect on me then, and it's still reverberated to this day, and it's had a direct influence on me, absolutely going to the rabbinate and various things. This is what happens, parents, watch out. My dad said, listen, Eric, you may not be aware, I was at college, so I don't know every detail of what's going on in my family at that point. I was a little more disconnected. And my dad said, I'm struggling with certain health issues, and some of them regarding my diet and other changes that my doctor wants me to make. And I've been trying to do those changes, and I've had a little success, but not complete. And I'm really, really struggling with really making this kind of wholesale change in my diet that will be required for my health. I'm trying, but I'm finding it very, very difficult. And I've reached a point recently where I realized I can't do this on my own. I need a power beyond me to help give me the strength, the spiritual fortitude to make these changes in my life. Because I love you, I love your mom, I love being alive, and I want to live a long life. And it's on me, but I can't do it alone. And so I pray to God with all of my heart, with all of my might and all my soul, help me. Help me get the strength. Help me have the determination. Help me to overcome my habits. Help me to do better. I realize that with all humility, I can't do it all. And externally, I kind of scuffle, I went like this. But internally, it occurred to me, there's something my dad can't do on his own? What? What does that mean? And began me on a journey. What does it mean that, we don't all have the power? There might be something beyond us. There's some strength. And it got me on a journey. And at its essence, it's a humbling. That prayer is an opportunity for recognizing my limits, where I can't do it all. And in fact, it's a way of looking at the world that recognizes that I too can get sick. I too could get COVID, as careful as I may be. I too may not be able to change things in my life alone. I may need others, community, friends, people who love me, family. And even in this case, in my case, my father's case, the great power beyond us to help me as well. That is humbling. But it's also a way of looking at the world that lets us ultimately try to succeed with humility. So I put that out here to say on Rosh Hashanah, this illness, this quarantine, it's completely unpleasant. I wish I didn't have to pray to power beyond us to help save us. But that is what a Rosh Hashanah, Malchiyot, bowing down to the ground. It's a way of looking at the world that says, yeah, I want to go out there and accomplish. I want to go out there and succeed. I feel blessed to achieve, and I have dreams, and I have ambition. But I'm humble enough to realize that I can't do it alone, and that I need to be careful. And I'm no different than any other human being. We're all on this journey struggling. And to remember that as I engage in the world, as I look at others, it leads me towards compassion and kindness, to understanding. It makes me realize that I'm just human too. That's part of what prayer is about. That's what Rosh Hashanah is about. That's what bowing and bowing is about. And people have said to me, what can I do at home, given that not everyone's going to come to shul, which I get? You can bow down on the ground. Don't be embarrassed about it. Fine, go somewhere that no one's looking. Go all the way down. We Jews do it rarely, but on Rosh Hashanah and Kippur we do. And that's a reminder of that humility, that there is a power beyond us, that it's not all about us, that we too need to follow the rules because we too can be infected by, sadly, COVID and other things too. And may that propel us in the year to come to be properly sized, have humility as we go forward safely and carefully, knowing we too simply come from dust and ashes. That is a Jewish way of looking at the world. Wishing everyone a sweet Shabbat, a safe Shabbat. Don't believe we'll talk again before Rosh Hashanah, so please God, a safe, healthy, sweet New Year, where we come in and are humbled so that we can start the year with the right mindset, right spiritual framework to go forward and do all we can to make the world better. Shabbat Shalom, Shana Tova.